Artix. It's Career Chat Live, and I'm Carol Maloney Scott. Today, we're going to talk about career branding. Now, I know personal branding and the concept of branding ourselves is not something that is 100% new. I certainly didn't invent it, and I know it's probably something that is not new to you as a concept. However, we really want to make sure that we look at this piece of the puzzle, especially now with the economy being what it is, unemployment being what it is, competition being what it is for various roles, right? So I hear a lot of you telling me that, you're upset about the fact that, there's so many people out of work in your field and there's so many people who are looking for positions at the same time. And I totally get that. We don't want to give into that feeling or fear though, because if we do, then we're kind of finished, right? We need to not think about the other people, right? And just think about putting our best foot forward. Part of putting our best foot forward is branding our career. So what do we mean by that? Well, I know I talk with you ladies all the time about how your LinkedIn profile and your cover letter and your resume all need to kind of come together to create your brand, right? They all need to work together. And in working together, that is really part of your brand, of your career brand. But it's really not all of it. So I want to go through a few things today, and I do have some notes here, so I don't forget to tell you something. But I want to talk about really what career branding is, and why we need to do it, what are the benefits, and then kind of like how to begin to do it. Because I think a lot of us think like, well, I'm not a marketing person, I'm not an advertising person, how the heck am I supposed to brand myself? I'm having a hard enough time just writing my resume and saying, what I accomplished. Now you want me to brand myself. So yes, I do, but it's okay. We're gonna walk through it. So what is career branding? It's basically a technique in marketing where you package and present yourself in a certain way so that you're selling yourself, and in this case, your skills, towards those particular opportunities that you really want. Right now, of course, part of that is a huge part of that is knowing yourself. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. That is obviously, that's the key to all of this, right? Is this process of self-discovery. So, and so an example here in this article I have, let's say you're working in the marketing department and have good rapport with customers, making them feel connected with your section. You're quite adept and also at handling queries, no matter what the depth of the situation. So then your strength lies in communication skills. You have a flair for that, and you should brand yourself for that skill. So that's a very basic example of what I'm talking about, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth. But basically, the concept here is figuring out what it is that you really excel at, right? What is your specialty, right? If somebody asked you, like, what's your specialty? Like, let's say you like to cook or bake, and someone said, what's your specialty? Like, what's your best dish? I bet you'd have no problem saying, I make the best apple pie, or I make the best beef stew, or I make the best tacos, or I mix the best drink, or, right? You would have no problem, I'm sure, owning that and telling people what you do, right? You're the master apple pie maker. It's the same thing with your career. We want to think about, and then, you may know how to bake 100 things, right? And you may know how to cook 100 things, but you're still able to pull out the things that you enjoy making the most, right? That you enjoy creating for your family the most, and for others and for yourself. And you can also pull out the ones that you know that you're the best at, right? So let's look at that a little bit as we, that cooking analogy as we go through some of this stuff. Cooking analogy doesn't work as well for me because I don't like cooking, although I could still say there are some things that I make that I know my family likes. I don't know why, but they do. So the importance of career branding, it's really, the concept is to put your best foot forward, right? And right now, where there is so much competition and there are so many people applying for jobs, if you take this extra step and you really brand yourself, and you will stick out, right? You will really stick out from the crowd. I know you guys hear me say all the time on calls and various places, the average person's doing this much. If you just do this much, it's almost like you did this much, because it really shows. It really shows. You become this glaring beacon of, extra credit when you do more than the average person. And the average person really is not personally or branding their career. So So it's vital that you think about the brand that you want to carry forward, right? So you want to have a unique brand for your identity and you want to take advantage of that. So that's really the first step really in figuring this out is this perception of yourself, right? So you really need to, you need to get out your journal. You need to make a list. What are your favorite things to do at work? What are the things that you do best at? What are the things that people go to you for, right? That, oh, you're the go-to person for this thing, right? Everybody comes to me and asks me for help with the da-da-da, right? That da-da-da is, that could be your brand. People always come to me and ask me for my apple pie recipe, right? Or people always come to me and ask me for my ideas for new sales tactics. People always come to me and ask me to help them with their Excel spreadsheets. People always come and, whatever, right? Whatever people ask you about, whatever people see you as an expert in, those are things that might be part of your personal brand. Things where you've received a lot of praise at work. Maybe you've received an award, or maybe you've received some other kind of commendation. Maybe when you were promoted, it was because of your skill in this particular area, right? Maybe you're asked to train other people in the workplace on a particular area, even though your title isn't trainer, right? I have clients a lot of times that'll tell me, that they've done a really good job and they've been asked to, to train coworkers. And, to me, that's a really great indication that that's a skill that you really own, and that you really want to sell that skill. So that could be part of your personal brand. You want to think about times when others outside of work have even praised you, right, for things. Sometimes some of those things can even be work related, especially if you're trying to pivot, right, into a different career. That might be something that's a clue as to what really is your brand, right? Like what are you really selling? So it really requires prioritizing skills. After you analyze yourself, you really need to think about, okay, I'm good at all these things, but of all these things I'm good at now, which are the ones that I'm the best at, right? Which are the ones that really shine for me? Which are the ones where I feel like I can really sell myself? That's really your career brand. And when I talk about targeting your resume and really knowing what you're going after, really that's what we're talking about, is your career brand. The more you can brand yourself and the more you can differentiate yourself and then target yourself towards a goal, the more you're going to show up in searches, the more you're going to show people who look at your resume that not only do you have the skills to do this, but you have the passion around it, the interest around it, and they should let you do it, right? So those are all things that, and you are going to stand out again, head and shoulders above the people who have resumes that look like their autobiography, which we know is not what we want, right? So you need to come down with, some kind of, so you need to wordsmith this a little bit, of course, and that's where, I help clients do this, both in my Career Happiness Studio membership group program and in our coaching calls and things like that, and workshops that we do. And then, of course, with my one-on-one clients, I always tell one-on-one clients when we work on their resume, or when we work in a resume workshop in Career Happiness Studio, that I want you to call yourself something, and people laugh at that. But I'll tell you, on LinkedIn, I call one of the things I call myself is a happiness accelerator. I've had so many people send me notes on LinkedIn and tell me that they love that title. I've had people tell me that they were inspired to want to work with me as a coach because of that title. Why? Because they want happiness. When do they want it? Now. So I'm a happiness accelerator. I can help you to find what you're looking for faster. It doesn't mean that you'll never find it on your own, right? But I think you all know that floundering around on your own trying to figure out some of this stuff is really hard, and having a trusted partner really helps. So by saying I'm a happiness accelerator, that really tells people a lot more than just saying that I'm a career transformation coach. Now, of course, I do call myself that, right? So that people can say, okay, she's a career coach. But people don't always understand what a career coach does, right? So I want to give them, some other, some other things. I also call myself a success connector. So who doesn't want to be connected to success, right? You do. I know you do. That's why you're here. So I call myself some of these things. I had a client who was wanting to work more in social media than the other marketing spaces she was in. And we called her a social marketing maven. You know, in her creative space, that word was okay. Obviously, you're not going to call yourself a legal maven. You know, if you're going into the legal field, probably you want a word that's a little more serious. I would do some Google searches for strong words. I'm sorry, not Google searches, thesaurus searches for synonyms of some strong words like expert and guru. I wouldn't use the word guru, but you know, if you put that in there, you can get some interesting synonyms, right? So expert, guru, you know, the go-to person, the maven, the you know, the leader, the you know, whatever you want to be the queen of, right? It's really those types of words, right? Champion, right? We see that word a lot now. Come up, and when you do a search in the thesaurus, very hard to say that. And I do this all the time, because especially with my fiction writing, because you don't want to use the same words all the time that mean the same thing, because that's boring writing, right? So I'm always looking for new words, and I just love words, period. So, you know, I just like to always look for new words, whether it be in my marketing materials, in my fiction writing, in my nonfiction writing. I like to look for different words, and certainly for people's resumes, cover letters, things like that, LinkedIn profiles. Search for different words that really say, you know, either the same thing or maybe something a little bit different with a little bit of a nuance that makes it even more impactful. So I love playing with words, and that's something, you know, that we do, that I do with clients. So, so once you have that and you're starting to play with that and you're starting to figure out what you want to call yourself, you want to align your resume, your cover letter, and your LinkedIn profile. All of those need to go together. So you can't have a really super put together LinkedIn profile where you call yourself cool names and, you know, and, you know, it's really obvious how you're branding yourself. And you can't do that. And then your resume, again, looks like your autobiography. Or you can't make your resume really shine with this personal branding, but then your LinkedIn profile is a picture of a horse or something, or a field, or you know, a mountain, or your baby, or your dog, or you in your wedding dress. I know I keep saying that because I see that on some people's LinkedIn profiles, and it just boggles my mind. You know, so if your LinkedIn profile and your resume don't go together, that's a red flag right away. It makes it look like this, like, well, which one of these people is the real person? You know, will the real you know, Carol Maloney Scott, please stand up, right? And it's like, if those two are not in sync, it's hard to know, like, which of these personas is the real person. Sometimes they may think that somebody wrote your resume, that you had a resume writer do your resume, and that's all a bunch of fluff and garbage, and that your LinkedIn profile, which is a bunch of garbage, is what is the real you, right? They'll think, well, they did their own LinkedIn profile, they didn't do their resume. Or conversely, right, someone could think that, oh, they paid someone to make their LinkedIn profile look great, but look, their resume is terrible. So you don't want to give anybody any confusion about you. You want that brand to be very solid and very consistent, right? We talk about consistency all the time too. Consistency in your efforts, consistency in what you're presenting, right? So those are some very important things. So how can you market yourself? Well, you know, there are ways that you can market yourself within this whole career branding concept that really go beyond the norm, or I guess, or what is expected, right? You know, for the average job seeker. We live in a time, let me just take a quick drink of water, I'm sorry. We live in a time where technology is obviously rules everything that we do, right? And there's new technology every day, right? That is coming up. It's just unbelievable, the technology. And I know some of us struggle with it, and some of us, you know, want to throw the computer out the window some days, or we want to hire somebody to do some of the stuff for us, like I do. But, you know, at the end of the day, we live in this time where we have a tremendous amount of access to getting our message out there, right? You can publish articles on LinkedIn. Anyone can publish articles on LinkedIn. You can start a newsletter on LinkedIn and get people to subscribe to it. You can start your own blog. You can start your own vlog, right? A video blog on YouTube. Setting all this up and getting it started literally is so easy in 2020. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you want your own YouTube channel, you could create it in 5 minutes, get your phone out, make a video, upload it, and there we go. You know, like you have a YouTube channel, you know, so Obviously, you want to give some thought to any of these things and how you would use them. But, and I think you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Carol, I'm not promoting a business, like you are. So why would I want to have all these things, right? I mean, you can have a web page. You can have a simple website made for free on WordPress. You can do it yourself, or you can pay somebody a very nominal amount of money to do something really simple, like a one-page, just like about me kind of thing. What can you do with that? Oh my God, you can publish your own articles. You can, if you don't like writing articles, you could use it as a space to just be a curator of information in your field, right? All of this positions you as a thought leader, right, in your field. Because if you supposedly are this passionate, expert, champion, maven person, right, about whatever it is you're interested in, you should be reading about these topics. You should be learning about these topics, and you should be contributing to the discourse on these topics, right? So really, you can get your message out there, in so many ways. You could create, a Facebook page about a topic where you get people to follow you. You could create a Facebook group, as I have, where you share information with like-minded people, right? All of this is free. All of this is free to do. You do not have to pay Facebook anything to have a group, to have a page, none of this. The only time you have to pay Facebook is if you decide to run ads. Same thing with LinkedIn. You don't have to pay them to publish articles, or you don't have to submit them, nothing like that. You can do daily posts, you can do articles, you can do videos that are under 10 minutes on LinkedIn as well. So get involved in conversation about your field, be a contributor to your field. That is something that a lot of people do not do unless they are in the absolute upper echelons of their field, right? Like the CEO level people, you can find videos of them talking. Or people like myself who have their own business, who are promoting services and programs, right? But you, as an individual contributor at your company, in your field, you have a lot of knowledge, and you can share that knowledge with others. What this does is it not only shows people who might hire you, it shows them more of you, right? They can view more of you. They could see a video of you. They could read an article that you wrote. They could go to this webpage that you've created and see, if you have some new ideas about things, or maybe some of the content or articles that you've saved to that page or curated for them to find there. Even creating, a list of books that or publications that you think somebody in your field should be reading, right? Who are the cutting edge people to follow in your field, and links to their stuff, right? There are a million creative ways that you can come up with to differentiate yourself from the bunch. So I'm really taking this a step further now with you ladies, because we've been singing this song, I've been singing this song about resumes and LinkedIn profiles and focusing and all this stuff, targeting, for quite some time now in the group. And those of you that have been in the group for a while know that, talked about this stuff a lot. If you haven't been in the group a long time, please go back and look at the videos in the video section and listen to some of those, because you'll hear these things talked about. But now we're really taking it to, let's differentiate ourselves, and let's really find a way to, particularly if you are unemployed right now, or even if you were employed, and unless you've got 5 kids hanging on your leg all day, which I know some of you do, and I'm praying for you, but unless you have that, you have the time. You can carve out the time to do this. It's not that time consuming. I mean, I'm running a business and seeing clients and doing stuff like this with you ladies right now, and being live and in person to do all sorts of things. Well, not in person, but live on here, live on the computer, doing all sorts of things. But I'm also, creating content. I'm creating programs. I'm creating modules for Career Happiness Studio. I'm working with one-on-one clients. I'm having phone calls with people who are interested in working with me, and, talking about what they might want to do, and what, answering questions. I'm doing 1,000 different things. I'm starting a podcast, which hopefully is going to happen next week. Fingers crossed I don't screw anything up with that. I've written 11 books in the past 5 years. So you have the time. It's how you spend the time. And, that's something that you really need to think about as well. But I would really like you to think about what are your favorite things to do at work. What are the things you're the best at? What are the things people come to you for? What are the things you are praised the most for? Pull out your old employee evaluations and look at the things that people have praised you for. Pull out letters of recommendation. Ask people. I mean, if you're so humble and so hard on yourself that it's hard for you to do this exercise, ask people who have worked with you. Ask people who used to be your manager. Ask people close, trusted friends, family. Ask people, what do they think your brand is? Like, what do they think you bring to the table? What do they think of when they think of you, right? What kind of a person are you? Some of that could be qualities, like, values that you have or things that you do for others. And then some of it could be technical skills. Some of it could be soft skills, right? But getting together this list of things that you are good at and that you are passionate about is really important, because that's the sweet spot of intersection of where you're going to have the happiest career and where you're going to have the most success in your job search and your career in general, is that overlap between what you're good at and what you love to do, because the passion fuels the skill and the skill fuels the passion. So I hope this brief chat about career branding has helped you. I don't want to get too deeply into any of these concepts because I know it's a little overwhelming, but I would like you to just think about this concept. I am going to do in Career Happiness Studio, we are going to do a workshop on this coming up probably in the next month or so, because I really think this is an important topic. We're also going to start doing our career happiness maps in Career Happiness Studio soon, which is really going to be literally plotting out our plan and our map of how to get from where we are to where we want to be. So this branding piece, I think, has a lot to do with that. But for you ladies in Smart Chicks Career Club, I wanted to just make sure that we did touch on this. And if you have any questions about this topic, or anything you want to share about it, please do so either in the thread of this video or start a new thread. You're always welcome to start a thread in the Smart Chicks Career Club anytime you want, as long as it is career related and you're not selling anything. If you're offering a job, though, if you know of any job openings, please don't hesitate to post them and share them with your fellow Smart Chicks as well. So basically, unless you're trying to sell us on your pyramid scheme, I'm happy to see any posts that you guys initiate. So please go ahead and do that. It's where you really get to interact and be part of community. So thank you all for being here today, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.